Welcome to Unlearn the Crap TV with your host, Kathy Baldwin. Unlearn the Crap TV is more than just a show. It's a movement towards breaking free from the disempowering structures designed to benefit the few at the expense of the many. It's about education, healing, and unlearning the detrimental beliefs that have been ingrained in society for generations. So now, please welcome the host of Unlearn the Crap TV, Kathy Baldwin.
Welcome to another episode of Unlearn the Crap TV, where we question everything so we can achieve anything. I am beyond excited about today's show. I would like to introduce you to two amazing people, and then we're going to get started really quick into some amazing conversations. Sterling Long and Nicole Marie, would you like to join me, please? Hello.
Hello.
I'm so glad you're here. So today's topic, we're talking about the purpose of life. And I already talked about my perspective on the previous shows was peace and passion. Well, today is my third P, and that is purpose. We all are here for a purpose. We are not meant to be part of the cog of a system that keeps us trapped as consumers and workers in a system that is only meant to empower and profit the small percentage of our population. We have been disempowered and quieted for too long. And we are in a massive paradigm shift where the world is changing and the world is calling each and every one of us to find our purpose, to find our voice, so that we can bring our unique gifts that only we can bring and bring it to the world where you're living in your authentic purpose. And we are all living within our authentic purpose. And together we are collaborating and creating unity, and we are creating a brand new world where we all rise up together. That's my perspective. I'm going to start this conversation with Nicole Marie. Because Nicole, can I just call you Nicole?
Yes, please.
Wonderful. Nicole came to the Unlearn the Crap TV through a very unique process. I stalked her. I fell in love with her on TikTok. She is an amazing intuitive, but she's so different and unique because her message was so aligned with universal laws, with the law of energy, with quantum physics, with everything. She takes the ethereal and the spiritual and brings it to the individual. And I had to have her on this show. Nicole, thank you so much for coming and joining us.
Thank you very much for having me. I love your perspective on trying to find the purpose in life. And I have been through something very similar, just seeking that purpose, seeking that passion and that fulfillment. And what I came to realize over the years and years of kind of diving into my spiritual path is that the number one key factor is your own relationship with self. And it is the most important factor and foundation for ourselves and for the world we live in and the relationships around us. There are a lot of people who are, I guess you could say, unaware that we need a relationship with self. And lots of people struggle to maintain relationships, to operate in functioning relationships, and keeping in mind that everything around us is a relationship. Money's a relationship, work is a relationship, our home is a relationship, and all relationships are relationships. And we get really caught up in working outside of self or chasing things outside of self and trying to cultivate all of these beautiful relationships, these fulfilling relationships outside of self. But we end up putting ourselves on the back burner and not realizing that the foundation of our own relationship is really what drives and sets the tone and the foundation for every single factor and relationship outside of self. So When I started working on this spiritual path and doing card readings and mediumship and healing sessions, so many people would come to me and ask, well, how do I start this healing process? How do I start, building this relationship with self and looking within and doing all this work? And I realized through my own process of kind of digging into my own childhood trauma and some pain and guards and masks that I was kind of wearing and hiding behind, I realized that my outer world was actually reflecting to me my inner world and my relationship with self. Yeah, so it really started taking me by surprise when I started paying attention to people around me, things that were happening around me, situations that were happening around me, my struggles that were happening in life. And it became very eye-opening that I was part of that, the co-creator of those things. Whether it was good or bad, I was the foundation of those things. So I really started digging into those mirrors.
Thank you. You could not have said it any better. And I can't wait to go into a deeper dive conversation with you. But Sterling, before we do that, can you give us your perspective on the purpose of life? Because should I spoil the surprise? Yeah, I'm going to spoil the surprise. I'm sorry. I'm going to take the thunder from you because what you do is so beyond cool. Okay. Have you
Thank
ever
you.
Have you ever said to yourself, I wish I had one more of me? How much could I accomplish if I could duplicate myself? Well, we are in an amazing period in time of our life where AI, automation, and robotics are coming in and they're removing the menial tasks of our lives. And that is giving humanity an amazing time for us to step up and be our most human. But imagine what you could do if you could still duplicate yourself. You can. Sterling, please tell us.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll be talking about how to build your own AI clone, kind of what that looks like. And I guess just going back to your original question, like what's the purpose in life, the purpose of life? I think Nicole kind of hit it right on the head with this relationship with self. It's something that I've personally been feeling over the past couple of months. It's like I've been neglecting my relationship with myself. I've been bulldozing over me to serve others, or I should maybe say serve others when my own cup wasn't necessarily full. So the AI clone, just AI in general, is an incredible tool that can reclaim your time. Like you said, Kathy, get rid of those menial tasks so you can focus on the things that really matter. I think Nicole said relationships. Everything is relationships. And I firmly believe that as well. I believe that the relationships that we have are some of the only things that will stay with us after this life. And so I want to cultivate my relationship with me, my relationship with the divine. I believe in God, my relationship with my family, my 10-month-old daughter, all of my friends. It's all relationships. And so if AI can buy me back just 1 hour per day or a couple of hours per day so I can focus more time with them, then I'm in a much better spot.
Absolutely. And you're going to explain all of that very shortly. And we're going to have an amazing conversation. The show is going to go is we're going to go to a commercial break in a very couple of minutes. And then we're going to come back and I want to dive deep with Nicole. And I want to talk about relation to self. And then once we really know how to connect with ourself, then let's figure out how we can take our purpose and duplicate and maximize our time and our ability of what we bring our purpose to this world with by cloning ourselves. Sounds so amazing to me. Will, do we have a few minutes or would you like to take us away now?
You guys still have around 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay. So, Nicole, right before we got on air, an article popped up on my phone. And it was amazing because it said the 10 things that you need your intuition for. So let me read you the list of 10 only things that you need your intuition for. Meeting new people, your career decisions, navigating relationships, major life changes, challenges, financial decisions, your physical and your mental health, your creativity and problem solving, travel and adventure, and your personal growth and self discovery. But that's all we need it for.
It's a small snippet.
What do you say about how intuition, those 10 things encompass every part of life?
Yeah, intuition is used daily. If we start to pay attention and recognize it, we use it in every single thing that we do and say and be in every single moment. It's just really becoming aware that it's operating. Whether we're choosing to listen to it or not is a whole other factor. But yes, it really just drives all of who we are every single day.
Absolutely. Sterling, has intuition, I'm kind of playing with conversations because I don't want to go too deep because we're about to go to commercial in a few minutes. So, how has intuition played with your development with this new AI clone?
Well, that's such an interesting question. I think intuition has played a massive part in a lot of the things that I do. I've been developing apps and software since I was 11 years old. And so just going into this AI world with this wealth of experience lets my brain just kind of look forward and be like, oh, we can do that with this. We can do that with an AI clone. We can do XYZ. It's kind of like you've given me a new toy and now I'm a kid at the playground again and I get to just explore. It is a lot of fun for me.
That is amazing. And when we connect something so powerful like AI with our divine, with our authentic true self, our connection to all, it is not a tool we need to be afraid of, just like we do not need to be afraid of our own spirituality, right, Nicole? We don't need to be afraid of our powerful inner self. Well, with that, we're going to head off to commercial because I can't wait to get into this real deep dive conversation. So we'll see you back here in a couple of minutes.
Thank you.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. We discover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back. Nicole, I'm so excited for this conversation. As I said, I saw you on TikTok and it was as if I was being gravitated towards you. In my book, Unlearn the Crap about personal success and empowerment, I talk about universal laws and how we are all energy and how we have more power within us than we've ever been known. And you, as an intuitive, you have people come to you looking for information and guidance, but yet you were there in public telling people that they were just as strong and powerful as you. That amazed me. Could you please explain that to people? Because we're so often we go looking for answers outside of ourselves.
Yes, ironically, the world doesn't need intuitive card readers. The world doesn't need mediums to connect and to offer people guidance. If we really, really stood in the power and the authenticity and the essence of who we are, we would have all of our own answers and all of our own guidance. But unfortunately, we operate in a lot of humanness, a lot of limiting beliefs, and a lot of self-doubt, self-sabotage. So we think that we need to seek these answers outside of self. Again, it goes back to the relationship with self. If we can really place the emphasis on building our own relationship, we start to become aware that all of our answers are there, and they are there instantly. But we do get caught up in the overthinking, the overanalyzing, searching and seeking outside of self. We're constantly looking for validation, and we're looking for that proof, or we're looking for, the right answer, instead of going within and just trusting and sort of following our internal intuition center, our emotional navigation center. And when we can really start honing in on that, maybe for some people on a smaller scale, a smaller level, it's easier to start working your way up to the big things that require our intuition. We can start to recognize that choosing a color, choosing a food, choosing to go to the store at a certain time of the day, choosing to answer a phone call or not answer a phone call is often intuitively driven as well. But we sometimes kind of brush those things aside and think that intuition is just for these great big grandiose life-changing things, and it's really running in the background all of the time. But what happens again with the humanness is we're so busy running in stress and fear and worry and anxiety, it kind of overshadows the intuition, and kind of it becomes overbearing, and then so it's harder to hear those subtleties of the intuition speaking to us. So it's, for me, the importance building that relationship with self, getting to know yourself, getting to know what's creating the stress, the fear, the worry, the anxiety, looking at the self-limiting beliefs, looking at the masks and the walls and the guards that we all operate in to some degree, and really beginning the process of moving through them, looking at them, seeing why they are present, where they came from, how we can make shifts to them, and creating that inner peace, that inner stillness, that inner connection that allows the subtleties of the intuition to be heard and felt and sensed on a more regular basis.
That is beautiful. So when you're bringing someone a reading, an intuitive reading, and you're working with them, what does it feel like for you? And is it the same feeling that we would feel if we were tapping in ourselves?
I believe it is. It's sort of, it's so subtle that you almost, if you go looking for it, you're gonna get caught up in your active ego mind, and you might start questioning and doubting yourself. It's almost, intuition is sort of this abrupt, instant, gentle energy that just presents itself. But then we get taken away with the active mind and the fear of the future and the fear of being wrong or the fear of not knowing. And then we start to sort of sabotage. And again, it becomes a little overbearing over the intuition. And then we question and we question. So it's getting to know the difference between that active ego version and the subtle intuition. And once you start to sort of recognize the difference between the two, it can become very noticeable, but it sort of does take a little bit of practice and sort of getting to know yourself on a deeper level. Again, it goes back to that relationship with self. When you can recognize that, oh, my self-sabotage is coming forward, oh, my need to prove myself is coming forward, oh, my need to validate myself is coming forward, you then shift and balance those sort of out of balance things, and then the intuition is more accessible in that moment.
That is fantastic. So, when I saw you on TikTok, you were doing readings for people. And I know you have private sessions with clients, and everyone who's watching, they can more than happy book a session with you and get your intuition and your insight. But how do you do that when you're not in front of someone?
I like to explain it as the energy of love. If you have someone across the world from you, you know and can feel that love from them. You don't need to be in front of them to feel that love. Same if someone's angry at you and they're not in the same room as you. You can feel that. You can feel the energy. So it really just is energy, and it's about transcending this physical. This physical, I like to call it a meat suit. It really is a limiting factor, and it's really only a small part of who we are, of our spirit. So, once you can sort of transcend this physical limiting belief, and everything is energy. And once you start tuning into the fact that everything is energy, there really are no limitations to it.
So, can you tell us what most people are seeking when they come to you for a reading? What are they looking for?
Well, ironically, lots of people are looking for relationships. They're looking for love, and quite often, the guidance that comes forward is a prompt to go within and to look at. A common one is trust issues. A very common one is trust issues that surface. So, if you have trust issues within yourself, that is going to project outward because we are the foundation, our relationship's the foundation. That's going to project outward, leading to trust issues with people and relationships outside of self. So you're going to struggle in those relationships outside of self. So again, when you can go within and start working on your own trust issues, then you can kind of start to work on your relationship with your own self, which will also work on your relationship with people outside of self. Trust is a big one for people, definitely.
That makes so much sense. So, tell me, when someone starts accessing their own intuition, whether they start work by working with you and slowly developing their own inner guidance system and learning how it works, do they start to become stronger once they trust their own self?
I've actually noticed physical changes on people after sessions, readings. When people find that anchor of empowerment and that identity within self, it creates a transformation that actually becomes visible. I've also facilitated a lot of self-love retreats and courses and workshops, and visibly have seen the transformation. People glow afterwards, because when you start to tune into that inner spirit and you connect with that inner spirit, and that starts radiating outward and shining outward, your physical can represent that as well. So yes, definitely physical changes, but inner changes as well with people. People start becoming more confident. They become less reliant on people. They start to really create a trust within their own self, less sabotaging, less judging of self. And again, once you start cultivating that inner relationship, it starts rippling out changes with all of the relationships around you. It leads to better work environments. It leads to better relationships with money, with food. Food's a big one as well. Relationships of food as well, or food's a relationship as well. So it begins rippling out all of these changes around us because we've done the work within ourselves. So I definitely have witnessed that within a lot of my clients.
That is amazing. Can you give us a small little success story without betraying any trust?
Well, I have had many, many clients start off with card readings. I've been doing healing readings and mediumship for about 12 years or so. I've had people who just started off not having any idea what energy was all about, what card readings were all about. And a few of those people have led themselves, with some facilitation of my readings, to their own businesses, their own card readings, their own Reiki practices and whatnot. So,
Wow. Wow. So you are really helping people transition through this paradigm shift and helping them
yeah.
find their own purpose.
Yes, people are helping themselves. I can set the tone and the space for that. It's up to people to step into that. I'm not changing people. I can set that space for people if they choose to want that change. But if you're going to get any type of session or reading or anything from me, it's really going to poke you and prompt you to step into authenticity, vulnerability, the realest version of self, which also comes part and parcel with stripping away the masks, the guards, and all of that self-sabotage, which can feel a little bit uncomfortable and scary for a lot of people as well, because we sometimes don't want to look at those sort of yucky parts of self. We'd rather just put them deep down and put a smile on our faces and pretend everything is peachy, and that's not often the case.
I totally agree with you. I talk about the fact that we came from a judgment school system where we were taught right or wrong, and even essays or anything that was our words, it was still judged. And when we're put in a position of constantly being judged, we're afraid of failing. And we live in a world of shoulds and expectations instead of authenticity. Can you speak to how people consider intuitive readings to be part of the woo woo?
Well, without getting too much into the religious aspect of it, there has been a lot of ego constructs built around religion that have sort of set this shaming precedence when it comes to connecting to anything outside of self or energy outside of self. But when you really take a deep look from the inside, again, we are all energy. So we're really just connecting with the universe within ourselves. We're really just connecting with our own self, just sort of separated by this meat suit. Because within my belief and from what I've been shown my spiritual practice is our entire spirit is not within this body. Our entire spirit is everywhere, and it's all around us in everyone and everything. And so that is why I like to use everybody around me, relationships around me, situations around me, as the mirror for my own self, because it really is, in essence, energetically a part of me.
Absolutely. I could not have found a better way to end this part of our show and go to commercial. Thank you, Nicole. We'll be back with Sterling and some more stimulating conversations.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Okay, now we're going to get to some pretty forward thinking, a techie. I want to say, what was the TV show that we used to watch where everybody was living? The Jetsons. We're getting into the Jetsons. So, Sterling, people are afraid of AI. People are afraid of how technology is taking away our jobs. And in my belief, I think I mentioned earlier that technology, AI, automation is a gift when we use it to take away the things that are not the most human parts of us, our compassion, our innovation, our imagination, our ability to love, to connect, to make critical thinking and real profound change in this world where we're all empowered. Tell me how you see AI clones coming to the world and what you can do with a clone for people.
Yeah, well, first I'd love to tackle that first statement of people are afraid of AI, and they're afraid of it for multiple reasons, but you mentioned just replacing jobs. And I feel like if you're, I mean, this might be a bit harsh, but if your identity is tied to the job that you do, maybe we should go with Nicole, right? And try and find the deeper identity, create a better relationship with self. Because what AI is really doing is it's unlocking your potential. And it's giving you so many tools that you can use to serve at a greater level, to create more impact. I personally believe that AI is going to unlock the entirety of the human race because now all of the people who don't have access to a world-class education now have access to it. I mean, that's one of the greatest parts about these clones is we can immortalize the knowledge of the people who have come before us. So the Dalai Lama, I've been in contact with the organization that's looking to build a clone for them. Martin Luther King III as well. Like we can immortalize their knowledge and make these people accessible to anybody on the planet in any language that they speak. And so communication is no longer a problem. Access to solid resources, information, and training is also no longer a problem. These clones are just kind of one piece of a larger whole of the impact that AI is having on humanity. But I think the possibilities for growth and blessing the lives of millions, if not billions of people are
Yeah,
astronomical.
I never even thought of that. Originally, when I spoke to you, I was all excited because there was the ability for me to multiply my efforts and get my message out to the world and help people. And that's what I thought of. Talk about how
Yeah.
businesses are using it and how individuals are using it.
Yes. So right now I'm only aware of individuals who are using the AI cloning software. I think it's the software that I use to help people create their clones. It's called Delphi, and they actually only allow you to clone individuals. So that's important because you don't want to. I mean, there's a lot of bad things that can happen there. It's like if you clone someone that you don't have quote unquote permission to clone, uh, legal things, lots of legal problems there. So uh, Brendan Burchard, I think, is one of the biggest advocates for creating your own AI clone. He's actually had his eye on this, he said, for 4 to 5 years. Like 4 to 5 years ago, he was looking at trying to build an AI clone of himself. And only recently has it become possible for him to do that at scale, I'll say. And so
So, how
he
is he
announced,
doing it?
yeah, sorry?
How is Brendan Burchard? Because when I talked about companies and organizations, he is an individual, but he has a massive organization and effect on the world. How is he using it?
Yeah, so he's got his clone set up inside of his Growth Day community. So anybody who is in the Growth Day Mastery level can just go in there, and if you tap on the search to look at all the different courses he's got inside of Growth Day, his little face pops up, and you can tap on that and you just ask him questions. And it's incredible because it'll start linking to courses and programs inside of Growth Day if you want to learn more, get really targeted trainings. I personally used it to helped me design some marketing and determine where I wanted to go with a product and some marketing. So you can just have a natural conversation with it. And it leverages all of his knowledge and trainings that he's done over the course of his career on marketing, sales, personal development, growth, and things like this. And it's so cool to essentially have access to Brendan at any point in time that I want, and all of his skill sets, to get his advice, his expertise on something that I know perhaps nothing about. Like,
So are
it
you
is an
saying that,
incredible experience.
yeah, so what you're saying is somebody can sign into and have a conversation with a clone and actually have a real conversation like you were talking to that person?
Yeah, you can type to it or you can talk with him, and it's got his voice cloned in there, and so it sounds like Brendan. It sounds incredibly like Brendan. It's kind of uncanny when you clone yourself and you hear your own voice spoken back to you in words you've never said before. You're like, huh. Like, it's a little bit scary. It's also really cool. Wow, this can share my message, publish my message, make it personalized for anybody on the planet, anywhere, anytime, in many different languages. I'm no longer limited to just English, or for me, like English and French. Those are the two languages I speak, but I can't do Chinese or Spanish very well, or Ukrainian or Russian, but my clone can.
So are you saying that Nicole and I could clone ourselves and our clone could be on our website, and when people come, they could have real conversations with us without us having to be awake and logged on?
Yes, 100%. And it can sell your services.